Good morning. Today I want to talk about my teen keeps lying. Like no matter what you're trying, no matter what you're doing, soft love, tough love, consequences, your teen keeps lying and it is heartbreaking for you. Not to mention disrespectful and hard to be with, hurtful, so hurtful, yet nothing seems to change. Nothing is turning around, nothing is changing, nothing is making it different. If this is something that you are struggling with your teenager, I want to have maybe a bit of a different conversation about lying with you today because it's real, it is hard, and I've learned more better words, research that I can put around this to help explain kind of the situation as well as my own personal experience with this as a teen who lied like a doormat, like all the time. All right, let's jump into this, shall we? My name is Allie Payne. I'm a certified life coach, certified relationship systems coach. I've been working with parents of teens for 16 years now to help them end the painful disconnection, like lying, emotional blow-ups, stressful silences, to build healthy, lasting relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine connection. I was a very troubled teen. I had a very conflictual relationship with my parents. So lying was something that I'm very familiar with. I did a lot of myself. Now, for you as a parent, I'm just going to say there are a few things that probably cut to the core worse than when your teen lies. Now, of course, you don't know if your teen is lying, right? You don't know if your teen is lying until you find otherwise. Like, I don't know, my kids could be lying to me right now, but I don't know unless I find other data or input that says that they're lying. So that's actually point number one that I wanted to bring up. Suspicion. Now, I was a teen who lied all the time to my parents, like literally all the time. So I could have parented from the perspective of suspicion, of always kind of like, but are you telling me the truth? Like that second guessing suspicion, like, well, you're a teenager and I know teens lie because I lied, so you're probably lying to me. I could have chosen to parent from that perspective. And it would have created massive disconnection and ironically, more lying. Because if you consider the relationship like a bucket, okay? If you, and the bucket is everything you put in and everything your teenager puts in, that's your relationship, and you sow in suspicion, you keep throwing in suspicion, you're eroding trust just by operating from suspicion. And I know you're probably like, well, I have reason to be suspicious because they've lied to me before. Okay, I'm going to get there. So when your teenager lies to you, I think it is totally normal and natural to feel completely heartbroken. I did go through this once with my kids that I know of, right? Like that I know of. I don't know. And I found it hurtful even though it wasn't even something major. Because it's kind of like, excuse me for 1 second, younger human being who might be bigger than me and taller than me. I am doing every effing thing in my power to change and break generational cycles, to do things differently, just different, even though it feels hard in my body. And I want to yell and scream at you because it would feel better for me. And you have the nerve to lie to me? Oh, hell no. Oh, no. We are not going to do that. And so the natural reaction, of course, is consequences like taking their phone, taking their gaming, grounding, no access to friends, social media, maybe sports, a hobby, something like that. So it's, consequences and or punishment, right? Like punishment, like that's more severe, like, that's it. Like you're grounded for a month and you're not gonna see your friends and like all this stuff, right? Because they lied to you. I get that makes sense. I totally get that it makes sense. Because lying, when your teen has lied to you, as a parent, your perception, your truth in that moment is that you have lost control, you have lost authority, and to gain authority back, you must take action that shows you have power over someone. You have power over your teen. Because if they're going to question your power and authority, all hell will break loose. And worse yet, you're a shitty parent. If your child doesn't know that you're in authority and power, what the heck are you doing? So you go to this reactive kind of old style parenting of requiring getting that power back, because in that moment, that fear and anxiety is very real. So get that power back, do what is required to let your teenager know that you are in authority, you have power over them, and they cannot remove that via lying. And it's making sure that they understand that that's not okay. Because if you don't react immediately, you might be condoning this. And no, you're not doing that either. So there's a couple reasons that drive that reaction that you and I probably grew up with, right? Oh my gosh, I love that you're here. I love that you're here. So just put a yes in the comments if this sounds familiar. Probably, again, how you were parented by your parents, who are not bad, who are not evil. They had way less training and psychology available to them than we have now, okay? So when your teen lies, it triggers that part of your brain that says fear. It triggers fight or flight. And you, my dear, dear, compassionate, loving, caring, courageous parent, go into fight. So you go into fight, which is where that fear of losing authority and power creates the reaction where you probably have an excess or misuse of authority and power to do power over them and make sure that they know darn well that that's not okay. We are not going to do that again. I mean business. And you feel back in control. Okay? Totally natural, totally normal. Totally get that. Okay? Here is the irony about why that doesn't work. Because that same reaction is actually what promotes more lying. That need to have power over those perhaps excessive consequences or punishment, humiliation, shaming, etc., is what actually creates more shame. Creates more lying. And I'll explain why in a second. So what you were taught, which again, no shade to your parents, please don't call them and say nasty things to them, okay? They did the best they could given what they were taught and what they knew. That same reaction to their lying, which comes from a deep pain, a seriously deep pain, when anyone close to you lies to you, it is a betrayal. It is betrayal. And betrayal takes time, is heartbreaking. It's truly heartbreaking, okay? So here's another thing. I had a parent actually write to me about this, which is why I wanted to have this discussion today. And she said, it was something about like taking candy. Like they allow sweets in their home, but not like, yeah, you can have a certain amount, but you're not gonna like sit and eat the whole cupboard. And I guess her teen, took some extra, I don't know, something. I'm just going to say sugar because I don't know the whole story. Okay. And gave her teenager the opportunity to tell the truth, which you've probably done too, right? Right? You've probably done this. You've been like, look, if you tell me the truth right now, things won't get worse. If you tell me the truth now, things won't get worse. I'm totally open. Doesn't have to be a big deal. Just tell me the truth right now and things won't get worse. Have you said that to your teen? Have you said that? Just tell me the truth right now and things won't get worse. This is a hiccup in the system because what you're saying is either tell me the truth now or else. And that, my friends, is the exact script of a threat. That's a threat. So you've either got having power over them, excessive use of authority and power to create punishment consequences so that you get your power back, or we have what now? You and I, like your thinking is like a kind, responsive, not freaking out conversation with your teen. And you're like, look, if you just tell me the truth right now, it won't get worse, whatever. Thinking that like that's the best solution, right? Like, excuse me, I'm not flying off the handle, Allie. I'd like a few points for that. Tons of props, tons of points to you, okay? What you're saying is either tell me the truth now or else, or it will get worse. That is a threat. Guess what your teenager's brain does in the face of a threat? Completely shut down and go into defense mode. Guess what one of the best defenses is? Lying. So here you are thinking you're providing this nice calm opportunity for your teenager to tell you the truth, and you cannot for the life of you figure out why your teenager's not taking that golden opportunity. But it's because they're not seeing the golden opportunity, they're hearing what's coming. So their brain is also in fight or flight or freeze, right? So they're going to freeze and they are lying more or shutting down. And I know it's like, what? That's so counterintuitive. I get it. I want you to explain, I want you to understand that the teen brain, okay, the teenage brain is 95% emotions. 95% emotions, 5% executive function. Like, okay, those aren't scientific numbers. They're just my experience and just generally true, okay? Your teenager's brain is first and foremost shows up as, reacts as, responds as, makes decisions by emotions, not thinking. It is not about intelligence. This is a function of the adolescent brain development, okay? So any time where your teenager feels afraid, feels fear, okay? Fear of consequence, fear of punishment, they're going to lie or hide it, an error of omission. They're just gonna like hide it from you, okay? So in the space of what you are trying to do is kind, which is, look, if you just tell me this, just tell me the truth right now, we'll handle it, no problem. If you tell me now, it won't be so bad. What they hear is, oh, shit's gonna go down. And number one, they are afraid to tell you the truth in the first place. So their fear is already hijacked. Number two, they hear a threat. What if I don't tell you the truth? Then it's gonna get worse. So they have fear or double fear. That's what your teenager has. They don't have calm. They don't have emotional safety. Okay? And in the space of, so you're like, okay, but I've tried. So are you saying that I don't give consequences? Are you saying that I shouldn't give punishments? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying if your teenager needs to feel psychologically and emotionally safe in order to tell you the truth. And if you are giving them an opportunity to tell you the truth, and if not, they're going to be a consequence, that's a threat. That is not emotional safety. It's not psychological safety. They are in a triggered state of freeze or fear, and they will not tell you the truth. It's not going to work. So if your teenager is lying to you, okay, there's a couple things going on. The teen brain, because it is so emotionally hypersensitive, they behave from, respond from, react from, and experience their entire world from an emotional basis, not a filtered executive function thinky basis, because their brain doesn't have that developed yet, okay? So the reason they lied in the first place, let's talk about that, shall we? And I did this all the time. And this is the last point I want to make. Your teenager will lie for, here's a couple reasons. Number one, because of the development of their brain being so emotionally hypersensitive, the two things that your teenager's brain will avoid, like death, the plague, starting on fire, the two things they will avoid: judgment and criticism. That includes from friends, peer groups, but it also includes from you, their parent. So if they feel there is a heightened risk of judgment or criticism, they will lie. And you're just like, well, so I'm just supposed to agree with everything? No, not at all. Not at all. Here was my experience as a teen. There was no room for my voice, for my very different values than my parents, which is not easy as a parent when you're raising a child who has very different value system, just fundamentally different value system. Because even though you birthed them or raised them, does not require them to have the same values and beliefs as you do. And that is hard, like ridiculously hard. Yes, it is. This is the same with adults. Our brains do run the same way, except adults have a bit more executive function, developed executive function, and emotional regulation, let's hope, than teenagers do. So your teenager is lying to avoid judgment and criticism. So that means anytime they feel like what they are, okay, there's two different sides to this, okay? Why your teenager lies. There's the brain development that they are going through that is not their choice. They cannot stop even if they wanted to. It's a ride they just got put on. Someone buckled them in and said, go. They can't get off of it, okay? Their brains are wired for greater expression of independence. That means who they are separate from you. That means in order to be separate from you, which is called differentiation, they need to figure out who they are, what they believe in, what they value, individuation. Guess how that comes? It comes by constantly pushing the edge, which means that's why they are wired for risky decisions. That's right, risky choices, novelty, okay? So here they are trying to figure out who they are in the world. Aside from you, who are they as an autonomous human being with beliefs, values, and because they have less experience in the world, they're just out there like trying on different things, all the things, trying to figure out what they stand for, what works for them, what doesn't, all of those things, okay? They're required to do that. That's a given, okay? Then there's how you as a parent are encouraging, allowing, responding, reacting to their brain development. Some of which means lying. Do you know that 96% of youth have lied to their, like in a study, 96% of teens lied to their parents. The other 4% probably lied about not lying, right? So here they are trying to do all those things. If they perceive that what they're trying or edge pushing or experimenting or exploring is something that you are against or going to judge or criticize heavily, okay? I'm not talking about drugs and vaping. Like, I'm not saying you're supposed to, yay, let's go do that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you make comments like, that's so, people who do that are so, or we don't raise children who do drugs. Like, if you make these blanket statements or really harsh, judgmental type statements about people who believe or do differently than you do, that's how I grew up, then your teen is more likely to lie when they are out there pushing all the edges and exploring and experimenting, okay? Yeah, they're probably going to lie about bad life choices. Of course they're going to lie about the bad ones. They're not going to tell you about the bad ones. I did that. I was drinking heavily every weekend from the time I was 13. I tried drugs. I was partying. I was not where I said I would be. I was all the things. Like, if social media existed, I wouldn't even, I wouldn't have a job at all. Although I'm my own boss. But anyway, so when your teen, what your teen is wanting from you to not lie is more compassion and curiosity first. Noting that although it is normal for their brain to need novelty, to be pushing edges, which looks like risk-taking behavior, to be figuring out their own values and their beliefs, what they need is emotional and psychological safety. Those are scientifically proven, hands down, over and over, in order to come to you to tell the truth. And there might still be a consequence. But in that, there is curiosity and compassion that says, dang, that's the biggie. Yeah. What was it like for you? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Are your friends doing it too? What did you think was going to happen? What did you want to happen? I did some really shady stuff when I was a teen too. And I don't support, that activity. And I understand this is a hard time for you to be a teen. And so these are conversations that I take parents in my program through so that now there still might be a consequence for that lying. Okay? But you have to remember, why are they lying? I keep going back to this. I had a parent write me the other day, say that she gave her teenager this one chance, like I said, to tell the truth, and their teenager didn't, so she got punished and consequenced. And I said, because she was afraid of judgment and criticism, which is exactly what she got. So she's probably going to keep lying. So if we don't start humanizing, being wildly imperfect, trying stupid stuff, and having the conversations, the hard conversations about concern about the impact and your values, and is there room for their values and their beliefs? Even though you might be like, yeah, no, I do not vape. I don't support that. But what I want to be in conversation with you about is why you're doing it. Because you're an emotional, explosion right now, full of emotional driving forces. Emotions drive behavior. Full of emotional driving forces. What I want to do is stay in conversation with you about why you're choosing this behavior so that I can continue to connect with you. I can get you effective support that you might need but don't have right now. Maybe it's a lot of kids. I'm just using vaping as an example. vaping and smoking weed. They're using it to oh my gosh, I just lost all my words right now. They are using it to lower the symptoms, to feel less anxious, less depressed, less overwhelmed, sadness, low self-esteem. A lot of those things are normal as a teen. But if you don't understand how to create emotional and psychological safety with curiosity and compassion to have these conversations with your teen, then you will never find out why they're lying and why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? I'm not saying what I did as a teen was great, but I was lying because there was no room to discuss it at home. There was no room to talk about. And my parents did a lot of the stuff that I did. So it's not like I was like the spawn of Satan, although I was no like bouquet of roses either. There was no normalization of what it was like to be a teen. There was no normalization of the curiosity, so that maybe my parents could then be part of that with me and say, okay, how can we help you to meet these needs? Or if you're struggling with anxiety and depression and stuff, we want to help you. We acknowledge those are true and real. And I'm so sorry that you're feeling that way. What other support can we get you? Lying happens at the intersection where your teenager is primarily required to obtain and keep your love and acceptance for the purpose of physical safety. And their developmental need to push all the boundaries, to figure out who the heck they're becoming, novelty, newness, adventure. That's the intersection of lying. And you can lower the incidence. I will never promise your teenager's not going to lie, because lying is a part of being a teenager based on statistics, which I've shared. You can lower the incidence of lying simply by understanding simple but powerful, proven, scientifically backed tools on how to create emotional and psychological safety to be in the hard conversations with your teen, even when consequences are required. If you're interested in this, I'm going to post this immediately. If you go to my website, alipayne.com, there's a big pink banner at the top. I've got a free masterclass where I'm starting to lay some of these things out and explain it. Or if you're watching this after, if you tap the link in my profile here on Instagram or TikTok or on YouTube, it'll be in the comments. You can get the link for my free masterclass. And I'm breaking down why emotional safety is so important and how it works. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm grateful for all of you. I hope to see you next week, next Thursday, talking about all things parenting teens. Bye, everybody.